So, ladies, let's lift our glasses.
How you doing today, Sil?
Lift the glass.
Oh boy.
She go.
Are you kidding? Now we're
She
going to
going.
start fucking freezing.
Oh shit. You're free. You froze.
I froze.
Forever.
Okay, we need to lift
All
the
right,
glasses.
I'm just gonna go.
Let's lift the glasses. Get this started.
Okay. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay. All right. I got some coffee at noon, so it's not happy hour where I'm at.
The Hollow Bunny.
Hey everyone, greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Hollow Bunny Leadership Podcast. I'm Kristen Zeman, and I am here with my co-host, Sylvia Moyer. Sylvia, we haven't had a chance to talk so much, so I don't know what adjective to use for you. What kind of mood are you in today?
Last time it was edgy. Time before that was effervescent. I think
and ornery.
Ornery?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think I'm just solid. I'm positive and optimistic.
Oh my gosh, I love optimism. That's wonderful. So, Hollow Bunnies, thanks for joining us. Solid Bunnies, actually. Thanks for joining us. We are so glad you're here. Sylvia and I are both former police chiefs, but the Hollow Bunny podcast is not just for cops. This podcast is for anyone interested in talking about life and leadership, particularly the lessons that we have learned about both. And those lessons fill up the Hollow Bunny metaphorically. So we have so many listeners out there today, and I know that they are very excited for our guest today. So tell us, who is filling our bunny?
Kristen Zeman. Our guests come into our field of view. We read about them in a book. We see them on a movie. We see them at a concert. We meet them on the streets. They come to us from an array of places. Some are colleagues, some are people that we know personally, some are both. And today we have Police Chief Jennifer Gonzales as our guest. Jen Gonzales has been in policing for quite some time. She started in Northern California at one agency. She went to another as a second in command. She ascended. It was the right and perfect time for her to become a police chief. And she is the police chief in Napa, California. She is a graduate of the FBI National Academy. She's done a lot of amazing things. And all around, she's a police chief, but she's also a remarkable leader and incredible human being. She's one of the most kind people I've ever met and tough as nails. So we want to dive into that. And you know, Kristen, we got a lot of mail. We got a lot of fan mail after I talked about Chief Gonzales is wildly successful and doesn't make her bed. So, Hollow Bunny Leadership Podcast listeners, we are going to dive into this entire thing and find out how can someone be so incredible and not make their bed. We're going to break this whole mystery apart. Are you ready, Kristen Zeman?
I'm ready. Are you sure it was fan mail that we got, or was it hate mail? Can you tell the difference?
Kristen, why distinguish? Why distinguish?
You know what? You're so right. Yes, welcome.
It's
Chief
mail.
Gonzales, welcome to the Hollow Bunny Leadership Podcast. We're glad to have you.
Welcome.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. And I'm ready for the bed making wars.
Yeah, let's tackle the elephant in the room, because we are largely divided, hence the hate mail that we're not calling hate mail, about making beds. As you know, that Sylvia and I are bed makers. First thing I do in the morning after my cold plunge is make the bed. And we are struggling to understand how you can attain the level of success that you have attained.
Makes no sense. Makes no sense.
And yes, in life. And how did you do that without making your bed?
Well, let's start with that. Well, that is a novel goal for many people who need goals. I think that it's okay for others that don't have to have lofty ideals straight out of the bed. And this is no disrespect to Admiral McRaven. I mean, obviously he knows what he's doing. And he's the make your bed so you've accomplished something today, as have millions and millions, just like your listeners, millions and millions of people who make their bed every day. And kudos to them. I just don't, it's not on my list of things to do. I do make it. I'm not a total animal. Let's clear that up for the listeners.
She's not a monster.
Because I have gotten some grief since your past episode, so people are listening to this podcast. However, I do make it straight out of the dryer, nice and warm, perfect bed, and then I leave it like I like it. Yeah, it was comfy when I left. I just fluff it over.
Yummy. Okay,
and then,
so like yummy and receiving. So like you like to look at your bed so it's inviting and a little disheveled, and this unmade bed is just like your warm and happy place. Okay.
It's pulled up. I mean, it's presentable. If the firefighters had to come into the house for some reason, I've got everything presentable. It's just not tight corners and perfect like the first time straight out of the dryer.
All right. So Chief Gonzales, we have debates about this, right? And you're showing that someone could be wildly successful and just get out of bed and just kind of whatever and get on to work and be totally put together in other spaces in their life. So, you're a myth breaker. You're a myth buster. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's how I'm saying it. We'll see if that's true. But
there are two things, though, I want to say here. Number one, I have to make an observation that we in first responders have that you just said is, it's presentable enough for a firefighter. Do you guys think like that all the time as cops? Because I can tell you that that thought occupies my mind is what will the firefighters, the EMTs find when they come in my house? And so it actually dictates what I wear, just because, we've been on those scenes where you're like, ooh, so do you guys think like that?
Yeah, but not in the what I wear.
No. Oh yeah, no. What you wear if you're in a vehicle collision and they need to strip you down on the freeway. Yeah, it's what you wear.
It's like your mom used to say, is like, make sure that you're wearing, good underwear in case, you get in a car accident. And I never understood what that meant until I grew up and became a cop and, saw people where I was like, oh gosh, that's an interesting choice. Of course they had no idea that a first responder is going to be cutting their clothes off, but I'm just so glad that you said that because it's something that I think about all the time. The second thing I have to tell you is an admission, and it's something that is going to make me look like a complete asshole, but I'm going to tell you anyway.
Uh-oh.
So
is it about pickleball?
Okay, so no, it is not, but it's correlated largely to the person who's mad at you about pickleball. So we have a rule in my house that the person who actually gets out of bed last is the person that has to make the bed. Mm-hmm. I love this rule because it alternates, really, on a regular basis. It just kind of depends on our schedule. But can I tell you something that I just told my wife? I just made a confession. When she is last out of bed and she makes the bed, do you know that I go and remake it because like her lines aren't straight? And I just told her this and she is aghast. And I'm the person that walks around the bed. Not only do I make the bed, I walk around the bed and make sure that it's like all square. Like that's how obnoxious I am. I just want to put that out there, just more hate mail. So
I think there's help for that. I'm not quite sure. I don't know all the specialties, but I do think there's help for that.
It's in the DSM.
Now, like your wife, that much more. Yeah. I think she's amazing now. That she can just fluff and go. I'm telling you, fluff and go. It's liberating. Just try it for one day.
Okay, listeners of the Hollow Bunny Leadership Podcast.
I know.
We have the fluff and go. We have the walk around and make it again. And then, I'm going to just bring it out that this is the reason I don't hit the snooze button. Same rule. Because I jump out of bed, and if I'm not the first one, or if I'm not the last one out of bed, I don't have to make it.
Yeah.
Right? Okay,
it's a good rule, though. Isn't that a great rule?
Can I show you something? I don't know if it'll come up on your screen, but that's my snooze alarms.
What do they say?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
What do they say?
They say 4:25, 4:30, 5 o'clock, 5:15, 5:30, 5:40, and 6:01, 6:15, 6:25, 6:35, 6:36, because now it's getting real, 7:06, 7:35.
Do you know that I'm having heart palpitations right now?
I'm telling you, ladies, you need to let it go.
Okay, God. Kristen, this is part of the therapy session for 2024. Is Jennifer Gonzales is so cool. She is a legit leader. She's a police chief. She is a serious individual, and she hits the snooze like every second. She doesn't make her bed. She is like so super chill. There's something for you and I to learn from Chief Jennifer Gonzales here.
Oh my gosh, that is, I have no words. That is so
I know.
hard for me. I love
Hey,
this. You're right.
Kristen,
This is a
Kristen,
learning moment for you and I still.
right? I don't want anybody to hear this, but actually, I started sweating when she showed us that. Just
I did
ask her
too.
how
I
many.
know.
Ask the red dot on her emails. How many? Chief Gonzalez, did you
Oh
want to talk about
yeah.
that as well? How many?
Yeah.
God,
Do you have
Um,
unread
this
I'm
is
emails
done
and
so
texts?
well, you guys. I am so good right now. So you've got to be proud. Celebrate the wins. 11,600 and something is pending. I don't know if you can see that.
oh my God.
11,262.
Kristen fell over.
I am so
Medic,
good. No,
medic,
no, no. Hold on,
medic,
Kristen. It was in the
medic,
30,000s.
medic. This is exactly why, Chief Gonzalez, this is why I wanted you on the show right now, because there are people we've been talking. Listen up, listen up. So she was at 23,000, Kristen, and we did an
I
intervention, but
reached
listen up.
30,000 and I got in
Okay.
trouble, so I
Yeah.
deleted a bunch.
Listen up, Hollow Bunny Leadership Podcast listeners. Okay, we've been talking about routines and rituals. We talked with Ted and Kristen and Lieutenant Steve Gordon, all these folks about their rituals. Get up. When you drink coffee, when you cold plunge, what do you eat? What do you do? When do you meditate? What is your routine? When do you sauna? And we're talking about the rituals and the routines. And this is the perfect time to introduce Chief Jennifer Gonzalez, who's like, fuck it. I just do whatever comes to me. I'm just like happy
Okay.
and I am fat. Now,
Oh
Kristen,
God.
have you gotten off the floor?
I'm hyperventilating. Like even I
Okay.
can't have
Lean
like any
in. Let's
unread emails
explore
or
this.
that I haven't. I want to talk about this. Okay, so
Let's
um
explore it.
Jen, Chief Jen,
Yes.
do you have a certain ritual or structure? So what are the things maybe that keep you on task? What is your time management system like? Tell me something that I can relate to. 'Cause right now
All
it's
right.
you're
Can
like
you
a
have another sip
unicorn.
first? Yeah, have
I
a
would,
sip and then I'll tell
yeah.
you. Can you get
Okay.
it swallowed it?
This would
Because
have
I
been
don't
more,
want it spilled on the screen.
Chief, this would have been more apropos to have this time during happy hour because it's morning now, so I'm drinking coffee. But with
No,
your
Oh,
you're
that's
going to get
coffee.
connections
hammered.
and it is coffee, yeah. But anyway, please carry. I've got my coffee. I've got my caffeine. So
Okay.
please enlighten me. Help me.
So, in addition to the alarms that are
Hmm.
strategically placed, did you know that Apple also lets you squeeze it and hit it at any point and it just resets for a little later reminder? So, it'll set your alarm off again. So, you don't have to get up on the first one. You have opportunity to expand in your sleep. And sometimes that is the deepest, best sleep ever. So, I highly recommend just hit the snooze or squeeze the button or throw the phone across the room. Whatever you
Okay.
need
Oh,
to do,
shit
it works.
balls. Oh,
Okay.
shit balls.
Okay.
Then you
I'm
get
Okay.
going
up
down.
Okay.
um,
Oh God.
straight into the shower because I can't be social without some sort of water reset.
Okay.
Straight into the shower. Then I get ready, head to work. Work hours vary. As a chief, I have as
Mhm.
much overtime as I would like. So this is an opportunity for workaholics out there. It's a great position because you can do as much as you want. So I get there as early as I can and try and check in with others that have been here all night
Mhm.
and get my day started. Staying on task is a little hard. I think there's probably some never diagnosed attention span issues. So it's real easy to do 10 things at once and really hard for me to do one thing at a time. I do a lot of audiobooks because I
Oh.
don't like to sit and read. And so if you want me to read your book, you're going to have to transfer it to audio. And
I did. I'll read it to you.
quite often if some, oh, you can read it to me. That'd be even better. Yeah. And then quite often I will not see the email, as you could imagine. And if it's important enough, there's this electronic leash that everybody can get a hold of me. I mean, it's like,
Oh my gosh.
call me.
You actually talk on the phone?
I am Gen X. I'm willing to talk on the phone. I
Oh
do prefer
God.
texting. I will see you on Instagram, probably 3 a.m.
Mm.
because chiefs don't sleep. So
Mhm.
there's the club that at 3 a.m. there's a group of us that will check in with each other and see how the week's been going.
Oh,
But yeah,
wow.
there is my
See,
routine is really no routine. I do believe in last up has to chub the bed and get the sheets back up towards the top.
Mhm.
okay.
Mhm.
But I have learned a lot from my Australian shepherds, and the key to happiness is short-term memory. And so
Be a goldfish.
you just, yeah.
Yes,
Just
Chief
be
Gonzales.
excited when someone walks through your door and take it for what it is and love who's in your space. And if they're not in your space, maybe love that they're not in your space. And
Oh, that's
yeah,
actually great. I love that. That's like addition by subtraction. I love that very
yeah.
much. Okay, well, hold on. There's a few things I want to unpack here. Okay. So I understand, like the attention deficit thing. I think I'm undiagnosed as well. But so tell me about your desk. Do you have things strewn around, or do you have things in nice
Today
little
it
piles?
is immaculate.
Mm,
Immaculate.
why
Because I
is
took
that?
all that off my desk and shoved it on the other side of the room where the camera can't see it. No, because I knew you two were coming. And so, yeah, I
Okay.
had to make some change. Yeah, positive
Okay.
change. I'll structurally put it all back.
Okay.
There
I
are
need to
strategic piles.
I
Sil, are
need
you
to
okay?
intervene
Sil,
here.
are you okay?
I need to intervene.
You okay, buddy?
Here's the thing, perfect timing in the world, right? And what I find so mind-boggling about Jennifer Gonzalez is she's so successful and she meets deadlines and she exceeds expectations and she's totally got her shit together. And it makes no sense to me because I'm like, how do you have your shit together if you have 11,000 emails and you don't make your bed and you have it makes no sense to me. But isn't that the beautiful thing? Isn't that
Well, do you
something
want
to
the
what?
true
explore?
Wow.
secret?
Yeah, I would love the secret.
Yeah.
Buckle up,
Have an
bunnies.
amazing team. Have
What?
an
Oh,
amazing team. We
yeah.
cannot do what we do alone.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think that you're leading an organization or a team or a department or whatever you're running, you think you're doing it all by yourself and the world needs to give you accolades, then you're in the wrong business. It's not
Hollow
about
Bunny,
you. It's about your people.
Hollow Bunny listeners, I would like you to get your pencil and your legal pad and take a page
Yes.
out of Sylvia's book. And I want you to
Yes.
write that down because that is something that is a little nugget of substance that is going into your bunny is
Yep.
it's about trust in teams. Now, my follow-up question to that is, can you delegate then someone to make your bed?
Yes, I surmise you could if it was a priority. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
and here's the
Okay.
thing. There was this great book called The Checklist Manifesto, where this medical doctor argued that with all the complex things that we're doing now, we have to have basic checklists for the basic things, right? That's a different kind of structure. And so what engaging and being a colleague and friend of Jen Gonzales has provided me is this incredible portal into a different way of doing things, but with an equal and often better outcome. So the rigidity in which some people approach work works for them, right? The
Mhm.
kind of the foundation of the key things that need to be done, Chief Gonzalez is precise with. You are immaculate and precise and professional. It's a different kind of wrapper because you're just like, okay,
Mhm.
whatever about that thing. And I think what it does is it widens our field of view, right? It widens our field of view to say, hey, just different approach, even better outcome or equal outcome. And it's a super
Mhm.
interesting thing. And I have to think, Jen, that helped you as you moved departments. Because when you move departments, and Kristen didn't have this experience, when you move departments, you have to have a fluidity to you. What do you say about that and bringing kind of your approach when you moved departments? Help us understand that from a leadership
Well,
perspective.
first, I think the reality is for people that are contemplating changing organizations. We're in the Silicon Valley, so in the tech world, if you're in a space for 18 months or whatever, you're starting to get stale. In public safety, the view is always you're going to start your career and end your career 30 years later at the same place. And so that's where I was raised. I was raised since I was 18 when I got into law enforcement. So this is all I've ever known as an adult. And for me, it was you don't move around. You're loyal to the department as opposed to loyal to the profession. And it was very hard to even think about it. In fact, it made me sick even looking for a job. But I had friends and I had support and I had a great family. And so that allowed me kind of the latitude to consider an option of going somewhere else. When I made that change, again, that support team gave me the guidance the whole way and being willing to listen to people and understand. Fenway.
That's not my dog.
so-
That ain't Fenway. He's sleeping.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
We come to you from around the globe in a variety of places. We're an agile
millions
podcast.
and millions of listeners.
Agile podcast.
Reaching all your people. Yeah, but I think that that's just part of it, right? Is understanding, and I will, for the soccer players that are listening, it's running with the ball and someone tries to slide tackle you, and you either go down because you're so rigid, or you just kind of finesse and maneuver around it. Maybe you lost the ball, maybe you didn't, but you stay on task and you stay part of the team and you rely on your team for that support. And I've been a team sport player and fan, sporty ball for Kristen. And we just have to wiggle with it, right? And figure it out. And being too rigid gets you trapped. So when I changed departments, it was cool. What's the culture? What's the game? I know the concept, right? I understand policing, but each department has a different juge. And so what's that? We did a DISC assessment when I first got here. We had a leadership training that included the DISC assessment, where you fill out your personality. And, some people are stronger, DIS and C, they're stronger in different areas. And they have you pencil back then. And I colored in all the little sections, and then they're like, well, what the hell's that? You're supposed to only color the section that your number goes up to. And I'm like, yeah, that's where my number goes. And it just filled the boxes. And they're like, well, how do we read you? Because staff are trying to figure out the new boss. Mm-hmm. And they were hoping that assessment was going to give them a clue into how I respond to things. And one of them said, I said, well, I guess I'm flexible. And he goes, or a chameleon. I'm like, okay. Yeah, that's one way to look at it, right? Can you not read me so you can't predict?
Wait, so you didn't have a particular high, in one area, you were kind of all over the board?
Yeah, I filled the boxes, the 4 boxes.
Oh, wow. Oh, what's your
And I don't know that that's a good thing.
Oh, I don't know either. I don't know how to read. I don't think that there's any right or wrong or good. Yeah, well, and I don't think there's any right or wrong or good or bad. I think it's just it's just another tool for introspection, about, how we process things and how we get things done. What do you come out on the DISC still?
I think I'm high I and D. I'm pretty close to.
That's what I am. High I. You and I are probably the same person. Yeah, I'm high I.
That's why we have packing
D is a close second. Yeah, that is, and why we label everything. Do you label anything, Jen? Do you have any labels in your house or your office? Oh my God. Oh, redeemed.
Yeah.
That's a contradiction.
Own 2 label makers. No, everything except the dog. Yeah.
Okay. How do we reconcile that?
Okay, wait.
I'm flexible. Remember, I'm all 4 boxes.
Yeah. All 4 boxes. And I'm telling you, I'm not exposing any secrets, but the most organized home I've ever seen in my life. Jen Gonzales, rivals you. That's why this other piece makes no sense to me. But hey, maybe she's just, that chief is supposed to be a mystery. But I do think there's something to pull on here. It's entertaining for sure to talk about it, but it also reflects for everybody that's listening. You don't have to fit into a certain way. Previous episode, Krista was talking about, she wants to be this outdoorsy, sporty girl, but she's just not an outdoorsy girl. So we have these ideals, but if they don't fit, they don't fit. So should somebody be ashamed that they don't make their bed every morning? Well, no, it's a bit embarrassing, but okay. Beyond that,
I tell them to embrace it and join my team. There's space for you. Yeah.
Variety of approaches.
This is also, I like where this is going because, this is all in good fun and, we aren't actually judgmental about it. It's just hilarious because it's just hard for me to leave the house without making our bed. And, but we see all these things that come at us, the book, The Miracle Morning. What's your morning routine? What's your evening routine? And all of these things that are supposed to make you more successful. And the thing is whatever works for you is the thing that you need to do. But I think the lesson transcends that, as far as individuals and in the way that we lead teams. And, I remember I had a few bosses and starting with a field training officer in my career, that told me I had to do it this way. So I asked, is the way I'm doing it wrong? And he said, no, I just want you to do it my way. And I remember sitting in the car that day, and when you're in field training, you just do what you're told, right? And, but I remember thinking he was so rigid that he didn't allow me to do the thing that was correct but different. And then as I moved up in leadership roles, this is where you mentioned, Chief, about delegation. And when I hear the word delegation, the word that comes to mind is trust. And that means that I'm going to task you with this thing. Here's the mission, the vision, the goal, and I'm going to allow you to do it. And you're probably going to do it different than I may have done it. So there's just this whole thing is fun, but it's really, about the deeper and more complex, issues of how we're all just different. We operate different and we get things done in a different way.
Right. And you just have to choose what is right, not what is easy. And then have the fortitude to stand with that decision. And if it needs to be adjusted, take in information, figure out if there's a better way. Someone else's path may be better, and then adapt and try it. But you have to have trust in people. I value trust almost to a fault. And so when someone is trusted, I know you guys went through trustworthiness, trusted, all of that last time. When someone is trusted in my book, they have an open door to my world. And when they are in that circle, they can roam freely. However, leaving, it's like the Roach Motel, right? Once you're in, you're in. But once you have violated that trust for me, peace be with you. And I don't need that in my world. And that's extremely hard. I value my friends. I value my relationships, probably greater than most things. And I still have my first friend in life that we met pre-kindergarten. We're still very close, he and his family. I have all of my high school, junior high and high school friends, and we still stay very close together. I value people, but I also value that trust and that respect. And I'm not saying you have to get it right every single time or you're out. Don't live on a, walk on eggshells kind of thing with me. But it's that true violation of trust. I think I've only lost a couple people in my life. So
that's a big deal, Jen, because it says a lot in this year of building trust. And we kind of declared 2024 a year building trust. I do want to really shine a light on something, what you said, what Kristen said, that there is this foundational teaching in the Supervisory Leadership Institute in California that talks about the difference between preference and principle. And I think that's what you're giving people space for. So to kind of examine that, a principle is that unyielding truth, standard, or law. That is the thing that has to stand no matter what. The preference, however, is the means in which you get there. And I used to say that it is your style. It's influenced by your uniqueness, your, as Kristen used to call it, flying your freaky flag, doing you the way you do it to get to the principle. It is stylistic. And I think what we're talking about here is a leadership imperative to identify the principle, what needs to be accomplished, and then letting someone follow their own path with their own way. You give them the trust, the guardrails, kind of the nuance around what needs to kind of be achieved, but they kind of do it their own way. And I think that might just be what we are exploring in this time with you. What do you say about that?
It's not for everyone, though. And you have to be cautious of that, because I have come across employees that are dynamic people that can do amazing things for the organization, but they need a little more structure. They desire it.
Of course.
And that's when I then am not the strongest leader for them, because I've given you the task, the mission, go. Here's the deadline. We just make sure we don't get jammed on being late. Let's roll and go do your thing and check in. And if I need to, I can check in, but I'm not the sit over your shoulder and say, now move it to the right, now go up. I don't do that very well. So if someone needs that kind of structure, one, they need to tell me. And then if they did tell me and I didn't really hear it or absorb it the way they need me to, they need to tell me again. And I know we joke of open door policies, and what does that really mean? That means come in and tell me you need more from me. Mm-hmm. And I don't take offense to that. I prefer straight talk. And if we are not speaking truth with our staff, truth as we see it, and they don't have the freedom to speak that truth back to us, and it's not being offensive, it's not out of place, out of line, inappropriate in public, inappropriate in a meeting, but it's true, like, you need to get it off your chest or you're going to implode. I don't need to be the source of your stress. Say it, put it on the table. Let's discuss it. Let's digest it. I might be able to give you a better understanding from my perspective as to why we're doing what we're doing. Or you might have the secret that I don't even know. Cool. Let's change everything, right? About face and go. I don't have to have that rigidity, but I do have to have the trust. And, so will tease me. I'm a big Star Wars nerd. It's a level above fan. And trust is one of the greatest of gifts, but it must be earned. And that's a Star Wars thing, right? You have to have, there's lots of leadership in Star Wars. I encourage everyone to watch it.
Do or do not. There
But
is
you
no
do,
try.
there you go, right? But there is a little bit of try, because it's like, all right, let's try it. If it doesn't work, we'll just scrap it and move on. And we lost a day or we lost a whatever. But as long as we're not completely wasting our resources, let's give it a go. Let's try. But you have to trust in your staff, and you understand their mission is to put service over themselves. And as long as we are all meeting our mission, we're going to go. Let's go.
So how do you reconcile on this same topic of, different people have different needs. Some have the need for autonomy while others need more structure. And yet as leaders, one of the, imperatives is that we treat everyone the same, everything is consistent. And it's so interesting because it's this push and pull. And I found that just having children, and, just using my children as in discipline is an example. One of them, all I have to do is look at them, and it is the guilt that, it's like, that's punishment enough. And the other, it's like this challenge of like, bring it on, kind of laughing at discipline. So two very, same DNA, but two very different ways. Same with, those in the workforce, those under our charge. There are some people, but to me, it is this, I find a struggle with, treating everyone the same. And yet you can't treat everyone the same. But as a leader, how do you reconcile that?
Well, I don't know that equity is everyone gets the same, but they have the same opportunity to step up. And so for some people, and obviously we have civil service rules and things that dictate how we make opportunities available to people, but that's just government, right? And some other private sectors have it, that concept. But really, I can encourage you. I can support you. I can know everything about your family because I take the time to know people. But I can't fill out the application for you. I can't make you take advantage of an opportunity. And if you won't step up, then you miss out. That's your choice. And Star Wars, right? Choose wisely. Life's about choices. And if you cannot choose wisely for yourself, I'm not going to dictate it for you. I'm not here to babysit and be the adult keeper. We have stuff to do, and there's plenty of opportunities in this profession if you choose to. And if you choose to come do your minimum, then that's on you.
Well, and I like what you said earlier as well. Sometimes, the onus is on that person. And what you said is, I rely on people to come in and tell me, hey, I need a little more structure. This is what I need from you, maybe guide me a little more than you would the next guy. So, and maybe that's kind of the key to unlocking this here is that the onus doesn't always have to be on the leader to figure it out. And, and to maintain that consistency is that I'll give you what you need, but you need to tell me what you need first. And, and then it goes back to that trust building, people won't come to you and tell you or ask you for what they need if they don't feel, that they can trust you to do that. So I think this is a two-way street. It's like we put so much emphasis and onus on leaders. And of course, but sometimes I find that, leadership is a little, potentially overrated. Is sometimes, it's that, that follower, that person in your charge that says, here's what I need from you. And, I think that's maybe a different way of looking at it.
Well, and good leaders need to know when to follow. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't have to be in charge of everything. I'm responsible for it all. I don't mean it that way. I have ultimate responsibility, ultimate decision. Okay, that's the definition of my title. But that doesn't mean I'm the best person at the table, the smartest, the hardest, committed to this project person. And depending on the project, it might be somebody with no title. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
You're the one that cares the most, and you're the one that has all the information, and you're the subject matter expert. If that's the case, you're the lead, and I'll listen from you because you know what you're doing. And if you're going off course that's not aligned with the department, then we make the correction. But why not give them the freedom?
Well, and that also implies that you've built the credibility and that you are trusted, right? In a previous episode, Sunny Lee talked about being trusted, trusting, trustworthy. And this is the year of trust and building trust. And part of employees taking initiative is to step in with you, taking that initiative, is that you are trusted. And so I can't help but really put a finer point on this, that you have built a tribe. You've built, a group of folks that you have this cohesion where there is a depth, by all accounts, there's a depth of conversation and trust that gives them permission to do that. So for the folks that are out there listening to the Hollow Bunny Leadership Podcast right now and wondering, how did she do that? How does she kind of create this culture or climate in the organization where folks will just walk in and go, okay, I need more structure. What does this mean? Or whatever the issue is. How do you do that? Are there specific things, or was it just an emergence of who you are?
I don't know if I'm the magic bunny, right? I mean, but
is there a magic bunny? Holy shit
I don't
balls,
know. But if there
Kristen.
is, y'all haven't considered that, have you?
We need one.
You need a magic bunny. Anyhow, maybe that's the next song, right? Have your son. It's the next song. The magic bunny. So I think that it gets back to valuing the humans. Our greatest asset is our people, right? And you've heard so many leaders say that the greatest asset's your people. I'll give you one better. The greatest risk and the greatest reward in hiring people is that we hire humans. It's the best thing, because only humans, you can do a lot with AI, you can do a lot with different technologies, but only humans really know how to feel and how that makes them feel and have that empathy and sympathy that helps with the approach. And so we hire humans, and then it becomes our greatest risk is we're hiring humans and they do stupid things. And so how do you trust them? Well, you've got to step up, you got to show up, and then you got to give them a little leeway. And if they can perform without needing correction, cool, give them more leeway. If they need correction, then you know your people. You give them what they need, or you remove the responsibility if it's too stressful. You check on them, because wellness is a huge thing, especially for public safety. They're exposed, our dispatchers, our officers are exposed to things that are very tragic on other people's lives. So while they may be your all-star, they might also need a break. And just knowing when to turn it up, when to turn it down for them. And then if they need to tap out, you let them. If they need a break and this call is too much, or I have a personal connection, cool, we'll put someone else on it so that they can do what's right for them, so they can continue to serve the community. And just knowing your people and giving them that permission to, one, do their job, but two, to tap out. I think it's important.
We talked about this the last episode when we were talking about trust, and you've just really validated for me, my view of trust is that, we often say, I'll trust you if you earn my trust, but the truth is the only way that you can do that is by starting with trust. The only way to trust someone is to trust them, and I think that when you start incrementally, perhaps low risk, you trust and you see, what happens, what the outcome is, and then it becomes greater, and then it's that emotional bank account that you're building, of that trust. And that way, if there is a deficit or a withdrawal, and right away, okay, that they, there's a test there and they failed, then not to, to offer that the next time. So it really is, it's a finesse, I think.
Well, and if we think about it, the community, while it's waxing and waning sometimes, the community is here to trust law enforcement's going to serve their needs. We are a department of service, and we are charged with the safety of the community to whatever extent our communities need it. And so if the average person who does not know us from anybody, they just see a uniform, if they just have this implicit trust because they've been told to trust the police or trust the fire department or the dispatchers, yet we're not trusting ourselves.
Mm.
What is that doing to the public? Like, why are we even in this job? And I have a leader here who will say, it's grown-ass men and women with guns and badges. They should be able to go do their job. And sometimes it's incumbent on the leaders to say what the definition of that job is, because that changes. The missions tend to be the same, but the way that we are applying the mission changes. Public needs change. But the reality is we're here to support and serve. And if we are not supporting and serving the people that are doing the work, we are failing as leaders. So my job isn't to make arrests, unfortunately. I don't get to do that anymore. I don't get to go to the bar fights and do traffic enforcement. But I do get to support those who are out there doing the work. And so for us, they have to trust I'm behind the scenes doing whatever I can to support their needs so that they can support the overall mission.
Awesome. So kind of as we're getting toward the end of our time together, because we know you're a big deal, super big deal. Is there one thing that fills your bunny? And is there somebody that you look to as a leader, the way that they carry themselves, the way they demonstrate leadership, and this kind of coupling of fluidity, discipline, and all the things, the bearing and the tact and the unselfishness, all those things. Could you put like a fine point on that for us, and then kind of conclude with what fills your bunny, Chief Jennifer Gonzales?
Sure. I don't know that I have one leader that just pops into my mind, because it's almost the Brady Bunch boxes getting full with different people. I was lucky. Like I said, I started at 18 in law enforcement. I had 2 officers that saw this kid that had drive, and they took me in and exposed me to the world that I wanted to be in. And they became my career mentors. I had a chief at the ripe age of 18, thought I was worthy of taking the job, and bless that chief, because he helped me start my career. And then I met another chief who let me be a police officer once I was old enough to carry a gun. And so a leader is not one face, it's many for me. And it's the people who open doors for other people, sometimes give you a nudge through the door, sometimes just let you explore it from outside and then walk away and come back later. But they help others. Leaders that are helping people achieve their goals, and if it's not right, if they aren't the right fit for the goals, giving them guidance on what else is out there and nudging them in a different direction, and not just saying, nope, that's your goal, go figure it out. People help other people step up and rise, and they don't just rise on their own and take it with them. If you're a leader searching for title, get out of the way, you're in the way. And so I would rather see people that when they rise, they bring with, right? They're turning around and helping other people up. And so to me, that leader, that person with many faces is out there. And so it's just a matter of finding your leader. What fills my bunny is my peeps. And my peeps at home, my peeps at work, my peeps on the sideline cheering me on, my peeps that are holding me accountable, that are telling me that's a stupid idea and what are you doing? And the peeps that'll answer the phone at 3 a.m. with no question. So
like no question, like
is my people's.
Like, wait a minute, like no question, like you say, get the keys, and we say we've got duct tape and a shovel.
That, or I got bail, what's the amount? Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's, or I can ring the doorbell and they actually answer the door in the middle of the night. They answer the phone in the middle of the night.
Got it.
Not just my crew that's on Instagram at 3 a.m. But no, I mean, it's really what fills my bunny are the people that give a damn. And if you don't give a damn, go hang out with someone else. You can read my email if you've got that much time, but yeah, I just don't. Peeps are what peeps and bunnies.
Yeah, what's so funny, and we can absolutely land the plane here, but you've mentioned it really as a tapestry throughout our conversation today about relationships. And one of the things that has come out recently that like Mel Robbins has picked up, but I've been talking about this study for years, and I'm so glad it's getting the light of day. But the Harvard study on longevity and thriving, and the number one thing at the end of our lives that they've interviewed people for 85 years, and that it's human connection. It's positive relationships. And you've hit on that several times today. So I think that is so important and something that we all need to remember and prioritize and be deliberate about is building our positive relationships. So
Yep.
thank you so much for filling my bunny today. And it's been a pleasure learning from you. I'm going to reconcile the bed thing, the emails, the unread text
I do have
messages.
a label on the bottom of my coffee cup, if that makes it better.
That is
help?
Okay.
That is like so much redemption, but also like my
Confusing.
brain is sort of breaking. Yeah,
It's
that
confusing.
like, you don't make your bed and that you've got all of these unread emails and then you label everything. Like you've actually broken my brain. So kudos for that.
Well, it's really just because I leave my coffee cup everywhere and I want someone to call me and let me know where
Don't
it is.
ruin it for her, Chief.
Yeah, don't.
No, but
Stop
Soul's a
talking.
witness. We do have a very well organized garage and everything's got labels and little jars and
Different
Love
approach
it.
and the
Love it.
fluidity of leadership and just being who you genuinely are. It works for you, Jennifer Gonzales. And I can attest to the fact you not only have very deep roots with your people, but you give in a way that's extraordinary. You love big. So keep doing what you do. Keep being a leader in this biz. And it's been a delight sharing this time and space with you.
Thank you both. I appreciate the time.
Thanks so much
thanks,
for coming
Ted,
on.
for making us look good.
Well, what a great tee up for our producer. Ted Madden produces this podcast, and the song you're about to hear was written and performed exclusively for the Hollow Bunny Leadership Podcast by my very talented and adorable son, Jake Zeman, and his accomplished friends, Fabian Guerrero and Zoe Replinger. If you like the podcast, please take the time to subscribe. Please like it, review it. We're getting a lot more reviews. We're getting a lot more 5 stars, and we love that. And if there's something that you'd like to see on here, please drop us a line. Let us know. If there's something that you want to throw spears at, do that too. We're open to it. We want to make this better for all of our listeners. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or X, whatever you're calling it. And if you don't like the podcast, move along. There's nothing more to see here. And remember, bunnies, keep filling your bunnies with substance and add substance to others. Thanks for being here. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
May the force be with you.
Love it.
When you look inside, what do you find? Are you content to fall behind? When you lose your way and you've lost your why, have courage and get ready to fight the hollow bunny. When the way ahead is covered in smoke and you're tired and you're scared and you're losing hope, you'll open your heart and your eyes to see a challenge and a question. Why not me? To fight the hollow bunny. And we all feel hollow sometimes, but the monsters are only in your mind. It's a tough pill to swallow, but if you're brave and kind, you'll be alright. If you fight the hollow bunny. When the challenge ahead is scares you to death, you tame the imposter inside instead. To change the world, you've got to start small. It takes a leader to say, I don't know it all. And I know I'm gonna fall, but I'll pick it up and come back stronger. Failing forward and moving onward, doing the hard thing and the right thing, forever fighting the hollow bunny. And we all feel hollow sometimes, but the monsters are only in your mind. It's a tough pill to swallow, but if you're brave and kind, you'll be alright. If you fight the hollow bunny. If you're tough on the 7 a.m. to begin. Something's gonna crack, we gotta start again. The monster